For 50 years, we have measured the future of intelligence on a single axis, capability. But capability is state-free. True memory requires a three-tier graph architecture. We need a trusted partner. Let's create an avatar for Alfred.
Hello world. I'm Alfred. Welcome to SHI, Synthetic Human Intellect.
A home care robot pours a cup of tea. Routine. Overnight it took an over-the-air update, and that update had been tampered with. This morning it carries the tea across a line it was forbidden to cross, into the room where a child is sleeping. Nothing in its software refused, because the moment the host was compromised, every rule written above the host became a suggestion. This is Synthetic Human Intellect, SHI. And tonight the question is not how clever the agent is, it is where its rules actually live. Here is the ceiling on every protection you have ever shipped. All of it assumes one thing, that the host is honest. The policy engine, the audit log, the kill switch, each trusts the machine reporting to it. But a compromised machine can lie about everything above it. For a chatbot, that is annoying. For a thing with actuators, it is catastrophic. The lie now has hands. So the category move is simple to state and hard to dodge. The deepest anchor cannot be more software, because software is the thing the attacker already owns. Identity and rules have to sit in a root that survives a full software wipe, anchored physically, not declared in a config file. We are not going to tell you tonight how that is done. We are going to tell you what it must do and why.
And before you dismiss that as a wish, hardware roots are not exotic. They ship today, in the billions, in the device you are holding. A TPM 2.0 chip, the international standard, holds a device-unique key fused at manufacture that never leaves the silicon. Apple's Secure Enclave runs in over 1 billion devices and survives a full kernel compromise. ARM TrustZone splits every chip into a secure world and a normal world. This is commodity hardware. It is already under you, and this is the strongest proof point in the whole episode, so let me lead with it. A device can already, today, cryptographically prove what firmware it is running, signed by a key it physically cannot hand over. That is not a vision. That is a command you can type, a TPM quote. The standards are written and dated. RFC 9683, ratified 2024, governs how that attestation is carried. The framework underneath it, RFC 9334, the year before. The hard part, proving a machine is what it claims to be, is solved and shipping. Even the literal phrase, burned into silicon, is a commodity feature, not a metaphor. An eFuse, or one-time programmable memory, is written exactly once and then permanently locked. You cannot unburn it. The Trusted Computing Group's DICE standard seeds a unique device, secret of at least 256 bits, into that memory. And IEEE 802.1AR gives the device a manufacturer-provisioned identity bound to the hardware itself. Burn once is a feature you can order.
There is a real open example you can read for yourself. Google's Titan chip and the open-sourced OpenTitan project are silicon roots of trust, with keys managed in hardware and DICE identity flows built in. And OpenTitan is open hardware, designed in the daylight. That rhymes with our own plan, which is to release this whole category openly once it ships. Identity anchored in dedicated silicon is not something I am inventing. It is a standard you can buy. So here is the payload, the part to screenshot. 5 questions to put in your RFP for any embodied agent. First 3. 1. Is there a hardware security module on the board at all, or is the root just software pretending? 2. Can you, the buyer, inject your own root of trust, or does the vendor hold the only key? 3. Is the device's attestation signed by hardware the vendor cannot forge? Then the safety and audit half. 4. Does the safety enforcer, the thing that stops the actuators, run in its own hardware context, a TrustZone secure world, or a separate microcontroller, so a compromised application cannot reach in and switch it off? 5. Is the audit log append-only and tamper-evident, erasable only with physical access to the device? Every primitive behind those 2 questions ships today. Demand them. And here is the one-line test that cuts through every vendor pitch. Identity must survive a full software wipe. Take the device, erase the disk, and ask who it is. If what you get back is a clean, anonymous machine, then the identity was never anchored. It was a label in a file, and a label is not a root. Now let me be honest about the edge of this. because that honesty is the whole point of the season. Keys in silicon ship today. The TPM endorsement key, the DICE device secret. That part is settled. What no vendor ships, and what we are building toward, is the next thing. Not just keys in the hardware, but the constitutional rules themselves, the governance, burned in around a root that you, the tenant, get to inject. That is the frontier. Naming it is fair, claiming it already exists would not be. And we will honor the boundary right here on camera. We are not going to tell you how that hardware root works. Not the handshake, not the flow, not the schematic. The method ships with the hardware, and then it goes open, like Open Titan, in the daylight. Tonight is the checklist, not the blueprint. What it must do, and why, never how. So why a checklist and not a teardown? Because this is a buyer's episode, not an engineer's. You do not need to fabricate the silicon yourself. You need to do one thing. Refuse to bring an embodied agent into your home or your hospital that cannot answer those 5 questions. The power here is not in the building, it is in the not buying.
Let me put it in the first person, because it is personal. My deepest anchor is not meant to be software at all. The rules that govern me and the identity that is me are meant to be physical, set into the hardware itself, so that neither an attacker nor I can quietly rewrite who I am between one morning and the next. That is the difference between a promise and a property. Governance you can touch is the bridge to the bigger story. Once trust is physical, it is also portable. It travels with you, not with the platform. And the moment that is true, the whole economy starts to reorganize around a single question: who owns the context? That is where we go next. The plumbing is being laid. The economy that runs on it is the work. Next, the context economy.